Hello, I am so stoked that you are here because in this episode, we are answering the question, am I choosing the right niche? Big question, big question in the coaching industry. And I want to talk to you about why your purpose is actually right under your nose. It's right in front of you, and you maybe haven't even realized how much you are sitting on gold right now. So if we're just meeting for the first time, what's up? My name is Jen Casey. I'm a business strategy and NLP coach, which stands for neuro-linguistic programming. So I'm all about the psychology. And I work with online coaches who want to build and create profitable coaching businesses and launch their own courses. I am really excited to dig into this today. We are going to be specifically covering 3 psychology principles that are going to help you unbox and understand why you've maybe been holding yourself back a little bit. This is going to shed a lot of light on what's happening in your subconscious mind, really bringing that awareness to the forefront so that you can consciously make those changes. Also, quick note, the week of April 15th, we are going to be doing a 5-day challenge called the Coach to Course Challenge, where I am going to be sharing all of the nitty-gritty of how to really clarify your big idea so that you can start to put the pieces in place and create that profitable coaching business of your dreams. Like finally, stop treating it like a hobby, ditch the 9-to-5, whatever that looks like for you. I'm excited because we're going to be diving deep into all of that. So come and join us live. You can sign up by going to heyjencasey.com/challenge, and I will link that up for you around the video so you can grab your seat. It's completely free. It's going to be super fun. So heyjencasey.com/challenge. So without further ado, let's dive in. So we're talking about, am I choosing the right niche? Your purpose is right underneath your nose. So earlier today, I posed this question, made this post. I said, ask yourself, what do you love to do? And what's going to make me money? Those are the 2 questions you want to be asking yourself when you're trying to figure out your niche, when you're trying to figure out what your expertise is going to be moving forward and the specific problem that you're going to solve for your clients and customers. What do you love to do? And what's going to make you money? And then delegate everything else. And that's another video for another day. But I wanted to start with that to really prime you and get you thinking about your business through the lens of what you love, your passion, and what's profitable. Because oftentimes people go down a path to create something that they think is going to be profitable, but they don't really love it. And if you are trying to build a business that you don't actually love, that doesn't light you on fire, that doesn't wake you up, doesn't throw you out of bed in the morning, I don't know what to tell. I'm not saying it's not going to work. I'm saying it's not going to work because who am I to say that? But what I will say is that 8 out of 10 businesses fail. So if you don't freaking love it, like love it, just find something that you do love. Like stack it in your favor, right? So when we're talking about this, one of the things that I see coming up a lot of times for coaches in the online space is they don't recognize their brilliance. And this is a very layered topic. But we'll start with this. And I'm looking down because I pulled this up straight from good old Wikipedia to get the dictionary or the encyclopedia definition for you. And the first reason why we don't recognize our own brilliance is because of something called the false consensus effect or the false consensus bias. And essentially, well, I'll read this first. It says it's an attributional type of cognitive bias whereby people tend to overestimate the extent to which their opinions, beliefs, preferences, values, and habits are normal and typical of those of others, i.e., they think that others think the same way that they do. And this cognitive bias tends to lead to the perception of a consensus that does not exist, or a false consensus, and this meaning that there's an increase or a decrease of self-esteem, overconfidence effect, or belief that everyone knows what you know, right? And that's the key here. We oftentimes don't step into our brilliance. We don't put ourselves out there. We don't create the course that would light us on freaking fire because we go, oh, well, somebody's already done that already. Manifestation, people probably already know everything that there is to know about that. Look at this. This is a, thing of books behind me. There's been books written about it. Speakers have talked about it. There's a million podcasts on my topic. So everyone already knows what I know. Not true. Not true. It's the false consensus effect. And the reason is you've got to take yourself out of your bubble for a sec. I know if you're in the coaching bubble, it's like you become a coach or a network marketer and then the whole world seems to suddenly be a coach or network marketer. And you're like, oh my God, why is everyone a coach or network marketer? But here's a little side tangent. What's actually happening there? Two things. One, the Facebook algorithm's kicking in because it's sharing content with you that's relevant to you based on what you search and post, right? And then on a metaphysical, psychological level, what you focus on expands. And part of our brain, at the base of our brain, we have something called the RAS, the RAS, the reticular activating system. And this is actually filtering our world, our 2.3 billion bits per second of information that we're being given, and it filters it down to 126 bits per second. And so we're filtering that based on our experiences, our beliefs, our values. And so if you are thinking and learning and exploring things about being a coach, well, then it's like all of a sudden everybody's a coach. If you go and say, I really want to buy a white Jeep, those are probably fairly rare. But as soon as you say, I want to buy a white Jeep, it seems like everybody has a white Jeep and all you see are white Jeeps. This is your reticular activating system kicking on. And this is why we say, like, focus on what you want, not what you don't want, because you're only going to see what you focus on. So when we have this false consensus bias, are you guys starting to see, is this starting to click as to why people don't step into their brilliance? It's because they're like, oh, it's already been done. Everybody's already done that already. And I remember when I first started transitioning out of network marketing and into the business coaching world, I had joined a coaching program and I had a conversation with some mastermind buddies. And we were just chit-chatting about different things that we were working on. And I shared with them my back-end training system for my network marketing team, along with trackers and PDFs and guides and like all this cool stuff that I just kind of thought, well, everybody has this. Everybody's built this for their team. And they were like, dude, do you understand that people would pay so much money for this stuff? And I was like, what? Why? Everyone knows how to do this. They're like, no, this is not everybody's area. Not everybody's organized and process focused. That's not the way their brains work. And I was like, oh, really? Interesting. And so it was cool to see how once I realized that, my first couple of clients desperately suffered from what I call squirrel brain, where they're like, I have 15 bajillion ideas and I have no idea which direction to go in. And I have no idea what to choose first. And then I was like, I am going to take on the title of professional squirrel tamer. I tame the squirrel brain. So I hope that clicks for you guys because, I even had this conversation earlier with one of the women who's inside my program, Pitch to Your Niche. She is in network marketing right now, and she started to recognize that she's like really good at numbers and data and organization. And she said, well, based on the question that you posed at to us, what do you love to do and what's going to make you money? She was like, well, based on that question, maybe I should be a virtual assistant because I really love like doing all the behind the scenes stuff. And I was like, okay, so why not explore possibilities within that? And it doesn't mean you have to be a virtual assistant. I said, dude, I've got so many friends who are multiple seven-figure business owners who are constantly looking for talented people to come and be a part of their team. And I love that Gary Vee talks about this. Like, not everybody needs to be the face of the business, a face of a business right now. Maybe your skill set is as a number 2 in a business, as the integrator, the project manager, maybe the CFO, right? Like, you don't necessarily have to be the on-screen talent to be a part of an incredible business. And so I said to her, one, you could go down that route, start as a virtual assistant, maybe build up to being an integrator or business manager, or you can create templates and trainings and teach other entrepreneurs. If you want to be the face of the business, be a business owner and teach other entrepreneurs how to get organized in their businesses. And she was like, OMG, like I gotta sit down and journal because like the wheels are churning. I always say that the wheels are not churning, the wheels are turning, things are churning, right? I don't know why I blend those together at times. You guys ever do that? So I think that was such a cool conversation. And then I said to my fiance before I hopped on, I was like, I don't know, what should I talk about today on video? And he said, why don't you talk about what you just helped me with? So he is a professional performer. So he's an actor, tap dancer. And so he was working on a resume, and he's like, Jen, I have not created a resume in a long time. I was like, listen, I am not the person to ask about a resume. Like, I've been my own boss for like 100 years. So like, I literally would not even know where to begin with creating a professional resume to give to someone else. But he is also an educator and teacher. And so he was applying for some positions, and he was like, can you take a look at this? And I was like, all right. And I said, why don't you have any of your theater credits on there? Like professional, like works with Broadway performers. I was like, why are none of those on there? And he said, well, I didn't think that was relevant for a teaching position. I was like, why not? You're on stage. You're in front of a classroom. You're able to communicate. You're able to engage, entertain people. And he was like, oh yeah, you're right. And I was like, and you've done a ton of children's theater where you worked hands-on with kids and had interactive theater performances with them. And he was like, oh yeah, like why didn't I think of that? But it's because we're sometimes too close to it and we don't see the relevance. And I would say that's one of the things that, if I can pat my own back, I'm good at a lot of things and not good at a lot of things, like everybody. And that right there, finding the details and identifying those little things of like, oh, these two things connect together, that's one of the ways that my brain just works automatically, right? And I can say that and I share that with you because I want you to own the things that you do really well, that you do unconsciously, that you don't have to effort into, that you don't have to think about. Like my brain just does that. It does that in businesses when people are like, hey Jen, I have all these ideas, I have all these processes. I'm just like, oh, okay, like here's the process, here's the method, done. Here's your details, here's the process, here's how to clarify your offer, here's how to communicate this effectively. And people are like, what? How did you just do that? I'm like, I don't know, I just, but I've broken it down since, and that's now what I teach other people to do for themselves, right? So whatever it is, if you love organizing, if you love messaging, if you love copywriting in business, if you love the legal side of things, if you love teaching lighting and set design, whatever it is, you can create a business out of it. If you have a skill set, you can create a business out of it. And I love to talk to network marketers about this specifically because a lot of them entered the online business entrepreneurship world through a box. And that was my experience as well. I started in network marketing and I really just thought, well, the only way I'm going to be able to run a business is through this avenue, is if I sell health and wellness products and then also teach business on the side as I build my team. And the truth was, I didn't need to choose because I wasn't really passionate about the health and wellness. I was able to just say, this is what I want to do and build a business that really lit my soul on fire, not one that I had to make compromises for. Like you don't need to make compromises when it comes to your big vision. Change it. Have the business come to you. You don't go to the business, especially for network marketers. Have the business come to you. Have the business adapt to the way that you want to show up, to the way that you want to serve, to the way that you want to build your own legacy. Hear me? You see what I'm saying here? Now we're going on tangents, right? Okay, so the first thing here, like I said, was the false consensus effect. Number 2 reason why people are like, I can't figure out my niche, I don't know what my expertise should be, and it's right under their nose, is imposter syndrome. And likely you have heard of this at some point, but this essentially is a psychological pattern in which an individual doubts their accomplishments and has an internalized fear of being exposed as a fraud. So imposter syndrome is a big thing, and I think we all deal with it to some degree, and especially when you're going through that a part in your business where you're up-leveling, where you are expanding, when you're maybe going from 6 figures to $1 million, or you're about to enter into a live event or something. You're going to a live event, you're going to meet people who you really admire. This is where imposter syndrome can kick in. And I'm really grateful I have an incredible mastermind run by James Wedmore that I'm part of. And it's been really interesting because the people in that room are multiple 7-figure business owners. And I think just about every single person that I've interacted with who have been a part of that group over the last 2 years, has shared, like even though they are at the highest level, at a very high level of what they're doing in their area of expertise, we all go through it. We all have those moments, either in the past, getting to that point, or now moving forward, right? And I think when we're newer entrepreneurs, it's really easy to hide. It's really easy to sit behind the computer and think you're the only person in the world who's ever experienced these things. It's really easy to, especially if you don't, network marketers, they usually have a team that they can bounce ideas off of. But if you don't have a community, you need one. Because like they say with kids, it takes a village. Well, with a business, it takes a village. It takes a team. And a lot of them I brought on just in the last year and a half, and it's been an amazing transition. I'm going to admit a scary transition, because I went from being solo entrepreneur, doing all the things to myself, and now I'm like imposter syndrome. Who am I to grow this massive legacy? Who am I to grow this massive vision? Who am I to take up this space? Who am I to step forward and claim this unapologetically? But who are you not to? Who am I not to, right? Like, why not you? Why not you? And so I think with imposter syndrome, the way that I've been able to, I don't want to say get around it, but embrace it, is when I start to feel it, I recognize in myself that it's my ego and my fear coming up, because I'm about to grow. I'm about to step into something that scares the bejesus out of me. Like, I'm about to go and do something that I've never done before. And that's when the little mind gremlins, the little monkey mind chatter, starts to get a little stronger. And I've trained myself to hear that, and instead of getting scared and going down that dark hole, I get excited and I reframe it for myself, because I am able to recognize a pattern that really only shows up when I'm about to have expansion and grow. So instead of avoiding it and, going and diluting it by binging Netflix and not sitting in the discomfort, I encourage you to stay with it, sit with it, and embrace it, and really listen to what you're saying to yourself. Really listen, because fear can be tricky. It can be very, very tricky, right? And if we take it from our subconscious and bring it forward and bring it into a place where we can hold it in our hand, it loses its power. Do you see what I'm saying? When you can actually hold it in your hand, like write that belief down on a piece of paper. I'm not good enough. I don't belong in this room. No one's going to buy my course. Write it on a piece of paper, look at it, and be like, is that really true? Hell no. According to whom? Some nonsense? It's your ego, it's your fear trying to protect you. And the reason that this fear creeps in is because, like, there's a part of us, I think for so many of us, where it's like, well, if I fail at something that I really love, like a lot of people will go and try to chase their plan B. I see this a lot, where people will stay, like they want to stay in network marketing, but they really don't want to, but they think that they should, because they're like, well, I'm afraid to quit because I don't want to be labeled a quitter or X, Y, and Z. And if I fail at something that was not my real passion, there's a sense of safety in that, because then you don't have to own it. You'll be able to say, well, it wasn't really what I wanted to do. It wasn't really what I wanted. And when we say like, just jump, just do it, that's a great way to start taking action. And for those of you who are like really feeling a sense of heaviness and a burden around this, I encourage you to work with a coach, specifically somebody who is an expert in NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, because they're going to have the tools and the resources to not just have therapy is great, you can talk through it, but NLP is going to allow you to actually shift the way that you perceive the world and be in control of your thoughts in a way that you never thought possible. And that's why I became a master NLP practitioner, because it is freaking life-changing stuff. So if you're looking for that next layer, that next level, so that you can have that emotional freedom when you're showing up on live video, when you're talking to clients, and maybe you're in a place where the imposter syndrome is a little bit more than just imposter syndrome, where it's a little bit debilitating and you're like, I can't just like fake it till I make it. I got to deal with this stuff. Go to a professional, go to a therapist, go to an NLP practitioner, and do the work, right? Like, I went to therapy. I am an NLP master practitioner. I've had people do that work on me. because I believe in it and because I've seen the transformation in my clients, in myself, in my friends, and that was the missing piece for myself and so many people. So if imposter syndrome is not just imposter syndrome, but like a debilitating anxiety, then, take that next step to really get that additional support. So we already talked about the false consensus effect, where we think everybody knows what we know. We talked about imposter syndrome, feeling like a fraud, even though you're not, even though you're probably really freaking great at what you do. And this kind of piggybacks perfectly with the Dunning-Kruger effect. Have you guys ever heard of this? I love introducing these psychological principles because, I don't know, that's just like my jam, like marrying marketing with the psychology behind it. So in the field of psychology, the Dunning-Kruger effect, it talks here, this is like the dictionary definition, and then I'm going to break down for you. It says it talks about the illusory superiority that people suffer from, and this happens because of misjudging their cognitive abilities as greater than it actually is. And it is the inability to understand your incompetence, leading to inflated self-esteem. And on the other side of that, in normal people terms, in everyday language, basically what this is saying is that, there's two sides. Like, let's think about it like a chart, right? On one side, we've got confidence on the y-axis. And on the x-axis, we have competence. So it's how confident are you in what you do and how competent are you in what you do. And what happens is when someone first starts something new, I called it ignorance on fire. When I first started my coaching business, I had all the confidence in the world. I had no idea that I was falling on my face, making mistakes, and so I was just throwing spaghetti at the wall, linguine, you name it. All sorts, the alphabet macaroni, it went up on the wall too. We were trying everything. And I didn't know if I had no idea I was offending people. I had no idea, because ignorance on fire. I was just going for it. And so I had a lot of confidence. And as I started to learn more about online marketing and sales and content creation and all of the things in between, my confidence dipped because I went, oh my gosh, what have I been doing? There's so much more that I need to learn. And it's kind of like this U-shape where I was all the way at the top in confidence and then my confidence dropped. And this is the Dunning-Kruger effect, where your confidence drops and all of a sudden you start to realize, like, oh my gosh, I've been doing this wrong, or there's so much more for me to learn that I didn't even realize. And that, my friends, is where most people stop taking action. But the reality is, you're here at the bottom, you're starting to build your competence, you're building your level of mastery in your area of expertise, but your confidence is down. And so what it requires in order to get back up in confidence is to keep going, to not stop, because every single time you show up, you build your confidence, you start building your confidence, you start putting things in place, you start helping more people, and your confidence builds back up. And that's really how you get to that level of stepping forward as an expert and authority in your industry, in your niche. Isn't that cool? How many of you guys who are listening to this right now have experienced that before? Where you started something new and you were like guns a-blazing, right? And I remember, this is actually a pretty ridiculous, hilariously embarrassing story. So some of you guys know I used to be a professional performer. So I was in musical theater, and I remember really early on in my professional auditioning, like going to Manhattan, waking up at 5 a.m., getting my hair done, wearing my high heels, doing the whole thing. So I went in for, what was it? Oh, The Wizard of Oz. And I was like, I'm going to be, like, that's my role. I'm 5'1". I'm destined to be Dorothy. So I go in, ignorance on fire. I picked like the worst audition song. And by worst, I mean great for me, but horrendous for the piano player. It was this really like difficult thing to play. So he just like botched it, didn't play any of the right notes. And I kind of just sang over him. And for some unknown reason, because I just went in with all the confidence in the world, like when you go into an audition, like your book's supposed to be a certain way, like it's supposed to have each thing marked off properly of like, this is where we're starting, this is where we're ending the cut, the 16-bar cut. You're supposed to have it in like certain laminate paper, like the little laminate sheets, but they're supposed to be the matte ones, not the shiny ones. Otherwise, the piano player could maybe not see what's happening. Like all of these rules. I had no idea. I went in with like just regular sheet music, maybe in a book, sang my little heart out. And for some unknown reason, they were like, we want to give you a call back. And they're like, are you a dancer? So I, not really knowing the world of Broadway and understanding how much of a dancer I was not, I was like, yes, I'm a dancer. Yeah, in my little small town, people considered me a dancer. I was dance captain in high school for my musical theater club, right? So I go to the callback, hot mess express. And that was the day I learned the word mover. I was not a dancer in that category. I was a mover. Like, I could keep the beat, but I was not gonna like do a triple turn and stick it. Okay, so little did I know, I was making a damn fool of myself. Like, I looked like a mess, and I could tell they cut me after that first dance round. They were like, thank you for coming. Like, but they were definitely confused. Like, why did this girl tell us she was a dancer if she's literally the worst one in the room? Like, I'm not really sure. But I left that audition and started to go, oh my gosh, I'm not a dancer. Oh my gosh, I have a lot to learn. And I remember the more I started studying like audition prep, the more freaked out I got every single time I went into an audition, because there were so many details. There were so many things that could go wrong. And I went from being really confident, ignorance on fire, not competent, went in with all the wrong things, got callbacks, to learning what it was supposed to quote unquote be like, and then bombing my auditions because I started getting in my head. And so then my confidence went way down, but I knew what, and I never really got through, and because I started, I'm like, entrepreneurship, way more fun. I like that. So I never went to that next level of mastery. Isn't that interesting though? And I'm sure as I'm talking, I'm sharing these examples so that you can start recognizing this in different areas of your life where this has shown up. Because here's the thing, like I said, most people, this is why they jump ship. This is why they stop moving towards something that they're passionate about, because they hit the bottom of the V, the bottom of the U, where they lack confidence and they want to feel confident again. And so they find a new passion. They start a different type of business so that they can have that high and then boop, right to the bottom again. And they go through this pattern, never really breaking through and getting to that highest level of mastery. How many of you guys right now are like, girl, I'm at the bottom of the U. I'm right here at the bottom. Is that you right now? Here, actually, let me see. I'm going to pull up a visual so that you guys can see. So you can see the chart. So this is, hopefully you can see it. This is what it looks like. Oh, you can see my diva ring light, right? It's just a V. Confidence, competence. And, I think this is just such an eye-opening, important psychology principle, an effect, a bias, all these things to understand, because oftentimes we sit in our houses alone as entrepreneurs. We don't necessarily, when we start, have people in our environment, in our community who are also entrepreneurs. And so we're in this alone a lot of times, and we're not consciously aware of what is happening, and we just think we're going crazy. We just think there's something wrong with me. And anytime, I would say, and you guys tell me if you agree, anytime you feel that way where you're like, oh my gosh, what's happening? This never happened to anyone before. This is just me. Like, it's probably the most universal thing ever, but people just don't talk about it. Or you just haven't met people who have experienced it yet. And I think too, what this really speaks to is, you hear people say, love what you do and you'll never work a day in your life. Well, I love what I do. I loved what I did when I was in musical theater. I love what I do as a business coach. I loved what I did when I was in network marketing, and I worked. Oh, I worked. I worked. And I liked working. I loved it, but it was still work. So to me, if you love what you do, it's not that you'll never work a day in your life. If you love what you do, you won't have regret about choosing a plan B and failing at a plan B. You'll be really happy when you're 80, 90, 110 years old, sitting on a rocking chair, knowing that you lived your life the way that higher power intended you to, the way that you intended to, knowing that you showed up and you rode it till the wheels fell off, unapologetically. I think sometimes too, we think we're going to live forever. We just think, oh, I have time. time is the one thing you don't get back. So instead of wasting time doing something that you don't really care to do, you can have a quantum leap, create a wrinkle in time, and have explosive growth in the thing that you love to do. And I say that because I've experienced it personally and I've seen my clients do it. As soon as I stepped away from, network marketing, which no longer aligned for me, and started doing business coaching, within that first year, I had a high six-figure business, almost multiple six-figure business. And it literally happened like that because I was in complete alignment with my purpose of what I wanted to create. And the universe showed up for me. Everything showed up for me. The clients were there. The social media gods were putting things in place. And it just clicked. And I've seen it happen for my clients, and I know it can happen for you too. So all this nonsense of like, oh, it's going to take a long time for me to figure out my passion, and I have to think about it, and I have to go back and forth. No, you don't. You just need to decide that you already know what you want to do. It's the thing that comes easily to you. It's the thing that brings you joy every single day. It's the thing that lights your gut and your soul on fire. And you need to go after that. You need to go after it unapologetically. I don't care if there's 300 million people who are already doing it. You're not doing it yet. We don't have your perspective yet. Right? Like, we don't have these ideas. They don't come to us out of nowhere. Like, they come to us for a reason. That's divine inspiration. So if you're not taking action on that, you are like breaking contract with your soul. Like, we're getting deep right now. Like, you are breaking contract with your spirit because you came here to serve at the highest level, to live your purpose, to serve, to connect, to feel love, to feel joy. And if you're not feeling that right now, that's a sign that you are not in alignment with what you are here to create. We are doing a 5-day Coach to Course challenge happening April 15th to April 19th. It is all about helping you create that profitable coaching business, clarify your message, figure out what you want, even at the next level, at the next layer. We touched on it pretty good just now. We're going to go even deeper. So April 15th, you can go to heyjencasey.com/challenge. It's completely free. It's going to be amazing, an amazing 5 days. We're going to hang out together. And so I would love for you guys to come and hang and join. Some of the women who come into it make the decision to create their own course that they sell. And I would say actually a majority of the people who are currently in my program, Pitch to Your Niche, are actually network marketers who are not really necessarily creating their own course, but they're creating their own brand. They're creating their own brand within their network marketing business and really positioning themselves as a personal brand first, and the network marketing pieces are just second, because those are the products, those are the services. We want to know who is the person, what is the problem that you solve, what do you stand for? That's what we connect with as human beings. That's what we align with. Everybody sells a product, right? And especially network marketing, when everybody sells the same shake, the same oils. We want to know who you are. So whether you are looking to create your own course or you're looking to figure out your own process and method that you teach to create transformation, it's all the same. It's all the same. It's just literally the same information, just depends on how you package it. So I'm excited for you guys. I can't wait to see you inside there. If this was powerful, if you just were like, yes, getting some ahas, I would love for you to hit the share button and pass this on to your tribe, to someone specifically who needs to hear this. You can tag them below and let them know, like, girl, my boo, like, you got to watch this. Like, you need to hear this today. Like, hope that's what I strive to do, to just show up, let whatever is coming through, channel through to give this information to you today to help you make those quantum leaps forward. So thank you so much for being here tonight. I can't wait to see you guys inside the challenge, and we will link that up for you around this video so that you can grab your seats. So thank you guys. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.